All right, good morning. Kind of got one thing. It's not super huge, but maybe of interest. The aggravated assault. This was at 10th Street and Franklin Avenue. It was last night just before 8 p.m. We had an officer that saw a motorcycle that was driving in the parking lot, basically driving recklessly, spinning out, doing, I guess, some different tricks and stuff. But so the officer went, pulled in front of the motorcycle and went to stop him. The guy started pushing back, like walking backwards to be able to drive away, and the officer was telling him to stop. And the guy gunned his motorcycle and ran into the officer. The officer just had some minor injuries from that, but once he hit the officer, they kind of fell to the ground. The guy was then, the officer was trying to arrest him, and he was kind of getting a little squirrely with him, but eventually he was able to get him into custody, get him arrested, no injuries to that man. The guy had a backpack on, and they ended up finding a handgun. It was a loaded gun in that backpack. Turns out that had been stolen from Sioux Falls the beginning part of June. That gun had been left in an unlocked car, and the keys were inside the car, so the car was stolen, and then the owner realized the gun was inside it as well. So we're not sure. The car was actually found a couple of days, or the vehicle was actually found a couple of days after it was reported stolen. But then the gun was obviously missing, so we don't know if this guy had anything to do with that theft, but obviously he came in contact with that gun at some point in time. So he was arrested for aggravated assault, obstruction, reckless driving, resisting arrest, and then he also is not supposed to be in possession of a firearm, so was arrested for possession of a firearm by a felon. Just those charges. Well, that's the aggravated assault. Yeah, aggravated assault against law enforcement.
No one for possession of stolen property?
No, they went with, I guess they just went with the possession of a firearm by a felon.
Okay.
But I suppose there could be other charges that would come from that.
And you said there were no injuries to the suspect. What about the officer?
The officer just had some minor injuries, just kind of some scrapes, basically.
And what time was this again?
It was just a little before 8 p.m., about 7:50 p.m.
It was in that parking lot kind of area at 10th and Franklin.
10th and Franklin, yeah. It's basically where DSS and McDonald's are. It was that parking lot.
And you said, sorry, just to clarify, the officer was knocked over, or the suspect was knocked over?
The officer was knocked over. So the officer was in front of the motorcycle telling the driver to stop, and the driver then basically hit the throttle on the motorcycle, went forward to hit the officer, and then kind of fell to the ground after that.
Was there any drugs found out at all?
I didn't see anything, no mention of any drugs.
Can we get his name?
Yep, his last name is Gay, G-A-Y. First is Netfa, N-E-T-F-A. Middle is Tristan, T-R-I-S-T-A-N. And he's 38 from Pembroke Pines, Florida. P-E-M-B-R-O-K-E, Pines, P-I-N-E-S, Florida. Good on that. Okay, the other aggravated assault, that was a domestic strangulation case. Burglaries, we had an apartment that was entered, and then a garage was entered. The counterfeiting, somebody tried to pass a fake $100 bill at a casino. The clerk recognized there wasn't some of those security features and kept the bill. The person ended up leaving. They said that they got it from somebody else, so that person wasn't found.
Do you have a location on that incident?
That was, yeah, the 5400 block of West 41st Street, like 41st and Marion area.
You said the clerk noticed the security features of the fake bill.
Yep.
That's pretty.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's we have a lot of people that seem to rely a lot on the pens to be able to detect bills, but there are the security features built into the bills, and so you've got the watermark, the picture should match the president on the bill. There's also a strip that says what denomination the bill is. Those are, I mean, almost possible to be defeated. So you know, I would say that's probably the better way. If people, it's a little more sophisticated, but if they wash a bill, if they're able to take an existing bill and then maybe change like a $1 bill into a $10 bill, it's still going to show up as a real bill. But if you're using those security features, it doesn't matter what the denomination is. That security strip will say the president's picture should match as well. So between those two things, and I think that's one of the things that the clerk had used was some of those visible security features to realize it was fake.
Was it like one of those Chinese or?
No, this one, there wasn't much. The officer said that it seemed to be a pretty good fake. There wasn't any Chinese letters, didn't say motion picture use. That's probably some of the more common ones, so. And I don't know if this was one of those bills that was washed or not.
It was a good fake, is what the clerk said.
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah. And let's see, disorderlies, one of them was a person with some warrants, the other was a stalking report. Family offenses are all protection order violations. The frauds, a little bit of kind of our normal stuff, but a car was loaned out, credit card, bill skip, a couple of reports. Larcenies, there was a couple of catalytic converters that were taken. I think a couple of them were the last day or so. One of them was from last weekend. Shopliftings, bicycles taken, really nothing high dollar out of any of those. Narcotics, one of them was some a syringe that was found, and the other was some suspected fentanyl that was found. The sex offenses are all reports. Simple assaults, almost all of those are domestics. And vandalisms, for the most part, we had cars that were damaged. Car windows, tires. There was a graffiti report in there as well, but nothing concentrated in one area.
No ACs reported stolen?
No more air conditioners stolen.
Or the cattle converters, like in one area, your cattle scattered?
Yeah, they were, they were all over the place. I mean, there was just 3 of them, but they were all different areas. Anything else? Okay, thanks.